This is a scam, Tangon exclaimed, his voice rising in disbelief under the clear blue sky. When did you learn the shadow-shrouded step? Tangon asked, his tone a mix of surprise and skepticism. What do you mean a scam? I just learned it, Tang Wunhui retorted, his frustration evident. Did I ever have an opportunity to learn martial arts before this? Well, that's true, but… Tangon started, his expression showing a hint of exasperation. How did you do it after only seeing it once? Tangon questioned, genuinely curious. Were you always so petty so as to deny results? Tang Wunhui shot back, a smirk playing on his lips. Pfft. Tangon couldn't help but let out a laugh. Wanna go again? Don't you have any other martial arts? This is kinda boring, Tang Wunhui complained, his voice laced with boredom. I guess I'm too much of a genius for this to be fair, right? Tangon replied, his tone teasing. Not only are your pockets empty, so is your confidence, Tang Wunhui retorted, grinning widely. Just wait here. I'll be back with more money to bet right away, Tangon exclaimed, turning to leave with determination. How simple, Tang Wunhui chuckled, watching Tangon's departure. I know many more secret arts that are harder than the shadow-shrouded step, Tangon shouted back, his voice echoing with challenge. Let's see how far you can get, Tangon called out, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. He must be quite flustered, Tang Wunhui remarked with a smirk, watching Tangon's retreat. Not only did a person who had never learned martial arts copy what he did after only seeing it once, Tang Wunhui continued, his voice filled with amusement. He even got his coin purse taken, he added, shaking his head in mock disappointment. I've never learned martial arts myself, Tang Wunhui confessed, his tone shifting to one of reflection. But the people I faced as a cult heir. The scene shifted to a dramatic flashback, showing a figure standing amidst fallen warriors. We're all renowned masters in the martial arts world. It's easy to remember the form of most basic martial arts. Moreover, Tang Wunhui explained, his confidence returning. How is it, cult heir? I did well, didn't I? The spirit companion floating beside him. Yeah, good job, Tang Wunhui replied with a grin, acknowledging the spirit's help. No matter how talented one is, he concluded, his eyes gleaming with determination. Stealing from someone who's much more skilled, like how I stole Tangon's coins, would typically be impossible, the spirit explained, its form shimmering with pride. However, if the spirits just push the objects a little, it can be done easily, it continued, demonstrating its ghostly abilities. Now, it's time to empty my new teacher's reserves of coins and martial arts, Tang Wunhui declared with a mischievous grin, his eyes glowing with anticipation. The scene shifted to show Tangon standing in the distance, unaware of the plot against him. 4 hours later. Soul-chasing butterfly? Tang Wunhui shouted, performing a swift movement technique. What about the Tempest physical arts? He questioned, his expression one of surprise. Surely not the Tempest dozen spins? He continued, his movements becoming more intricate. What? Tangon's reaction was explosive, coins flying around him in his shock. He may be a heretic but still feel sorry. It is his misfortune to be associated with the cult heir, the spirit mused, floating beside Tang Wunhui. I remember how I suffered in my life, another spirit companion said, his voice tinged with a mix of nostalgia and determination. Anything else? Tang Wunhui asked with a smirk, standing confidently. I can't loan any more money from the bank, Tangon replied, looking defeated on the ground. Really? That's unfortunate, Tang Wunhui responded, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Then, how about one last one? Tang Wunhui proposed, his interest piqued. Didn't you hear me? I'm broke, Tangon retorted, frustration evident in his voice. That's why I'm suggesting it, Tang Wunhui said, extending his hand with coins. Let's put everything on the line, like men, he challenged, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Do you intend to sell me as a slave? Tangon asked, his expression turning wary. Well, it's nothing like that, Tang Wunhui reassured. You do have one important martial art that I wouldn't be able to copy easily. Tang Wunhui mused, his finger raised in thought. Tempest dance. Young Master Wunhui. Tangon addressed him, his tone serious. Tang Wunhui responded, his curiosity piqued by the mention of his name. Tangon exclaimed, his body twisting in midair as he performed a complex move. Other martial arts may be fine, but the Tempest dance is the soul of the Tempest Squad? To speak of the Tempest dance over a wager is equivalent to disrespecting the Tempest Squad that is the foundation of the 9 Dragon Division, Tangon stated, his voice stern and his expression serious. Please refrain from speaking of it, he added, his tone leaving no room for argument. Tang Wunhui. He may seem lazy, but he really is the fierce wind warrior of the Tempest Squad, he continued. Do I lack the right to learn the Tempest dance? Tang Wunhui questioned, his curiosity and determination evident. Tang Gan. Of course, you have the right. You are the son of the head of this family branch. I've shown it to both the first daughter and the third son. So showing it to you would not be an issue in itself. But then his expression hardens. Tang Gan, I'm not talking about bloodlines. I'm asking whether you think you're someone who will be able to learn it. His words cut deep, causing Tang Gan's eyes to widen in shock. What do you? Before he can finish, his mind races, realizing the gravity of the question. His aura flares with fiery determination. He shouts, Tempest Squad's fierce wind warrior, Tang Gan. His voice echoes with desperation and pride. To you, am I someone who has what it takes to become a Tempest? His fierce declaration hangs in the air, his spirit blazing with the desire to prove himself worthy, no matter the cost. Amidst a fierce, swirling wind, Tang Wunhui stands firm, his eyes blazing with determination. His voice echoes through the chaos, raw and unwavering. Do I, Tang Wunhui, have the right to continue? His body surges forward, energy rippling around him as his fist cuts through the air with fierce resolve. The mission of the Tempest Squad? His shout is a challenge to fate itself, filled with the weight of his ambition and purpose. Tang Gan's eyes widen, his body tensing as he feels the force of Tang Wunhui's spirit. A somber echo resonates. The mission of the Tempest. Scene shift to flashback. A battlefield stretches endlessly, littered with fallen warriors and shattered weapons. The wind howls mournfully, carrying the lingering cries of a brutal defeat. After that dreadful loss, the narration continues, the weight of history pressing down. Shadows stretch over a grand fortress, its walls scarred from past sieges. A small group of warriors stands in formation, their heads bowed, burdened by the memory of those they lost. We are temporarily Zephyrs, the voice admits, acknowledging their weakened state. Their spirits flicker like fragile breezes, yet determination burns within their eyes. From a cliff's edge, a lone figure gazes into the distance, the wind billowing his cloak. However, we shall become true Tempest once again. His grip tightens around his blade, resolve sharpening like steel. A storm is brewing. The Tempest shall rise anew. 20 years passed like that. The mission of the Tempest that I had buried in my heart, he reflects, memories of honor and loss intertwining. Tang Wunhui stands tall, his eyes fierce, shadows of the past swirling in his gaze. To think I would hear those words from young Master Wunhui, the weakest out of the heirs. Yet, his heart quivers. However, a spark ignites within him. The mission of the Tempest. Those words do cause my heart to quiver, he admits, old loyalties resurfacing, his expression hardens. But you just brought up the Tempest dance for a wager. I cannot believe that you are truly being sincere with your words. Tang Wunhui. Ugh, what a pain. Wunhui's eyes gleam with cunning. 4 hours ago, when I first met you, he begins, his words sharp. If I had asked you to teach me the Tempest dance so that I would be able to carry on the Tempest. His voice hardens, his resolve unshakable. Would you have done so? Tang Gan's face tightens, and Wunhui's accusation lands its mark. You were planning to run off after showing me the Shadow Shroud step once. The Tang Gan hesitates, scratching his head. Well, I can't deny that. Tang Gan's gaze sharpens, his voice laced with triumph. So you taunted me to bait me into accepting your wager in order to prove your worth. His words echo, leaving the elder speechless. In this dance of minds and skill, who truly leads, and who follows? I see. I heard rumors that you have changed, Tang Gan muses, his sharp eyes narrowing. But I see you've actually been hiding your wits and power. Wunhui stammers, huh? Yep. Tang Gan's gaze sharpens, his voice firm. The martial arts I have taught you, including the Shadow Shroud step, are martial arts that are hard to perform with the level of internal energy the young Master Wunhui I knew possessed. His arms cross as his posture turns rigid. 2 months would be nowhere near enough time to build up sufficient internal energy, which means you've been building up your energy for ages, keeping it hidden from the madam. His voice lowers, his words carrying the weight of a heavy accusation. Only now, when the Dark Supreme is visiting, are you showing your hidden claws? Wunhui's response is casual, almost cheeky. Yep. The elder's face twists into a grin, his laughter booming. It is truly a nefarious scheme to backstab your family. He erupts in applause, his eyes gleaming with admiration. Wunhui's thoughts echo his bemusement. I understand this is considered a compliment in the Tang clan, but it still feels weird to hear. A bond forged through schemes and secrets, Tang Wenhui's gambit begins to take shape and muses, that lad must have seen the true worth of the cult heir. He continues, I cannot help but marvel at the most skilled user of the mapping technique in the divine cult. The scene shifts to show ghostly figures as Tang Wenhui exclaims, damn ghost geezers? Do they want to become a spirit pill? Back to the conversation, Tang Wenhui asks, so will you teach me, or not? Tang Gon, standing before him, ponders with a simple, The ghostly figures reappear, and one speaks, there is no point in resisting, nobody can resist the cult heir's sweet words. Another adds, that technique is the reason he managed to get so many to pledge allegiance to him. Finally, Tang Wenhui, with a determined look declares, all right. Spirit pills it is? Tang Gon, now focused, responds, all right. I'll teach you the Tempest dance properly. Tang Wenhui, with a thoughtful expression, begins. Then, the scene shifts to show Tang Wenhui standing solemnly in front of traditional architecture, Tang Wenhui of the Tang clan. He continues, asks for his master, Tang Gon's, teachings. Tang Gon, looking somewhat surprised or contemplative, as the request hangs in the air between them. Member of the Tempest Squad, First Wind Warrior Tang Gon, accepts the request. Tang Wenhui stands before him, Tang Gon, with a serious expression, says, unlike the previous martial arts, as the scene shifts to show his foot moving swiftly, the Tempest dance. The action continues, with Tang Gon demonstrating the technique, his movements leaving trails in the air. Will be difficult to learn so quickly, he warns, emphasizing the complexity of the new skill he's about to teach. Tang Wenhui, with a confident smile, suggests, let's change the bet then. Tang Gon, looking a bit surprised, asks, eh? We're still betting? Tang Wenhui, still grinning, proposes, we'll bet on whether I can learn it by today. He adds with a playful tone, the loser buys the winner a meal and drinks. Tang Gon, shaking his head with a mix of amusement and resignation, sighs. Sigh, you really? With determination, Tang Wenhui declares, all right. One meal. I do believe I will win this time though. He then challenges, now, watch closely. The former Tempest Squad members promise not to interfere in matters concerning the inheritance of the head of the family. Tang Gon, shrouded in a dynamic pose, soars above a traditional building, exuding power and resolve. Therefore, even if Wenhui continues Tempest, Tang Gon wouldn't be able to support him as the next heir, but it would tell the others this. The scene shifts to Tang Wenhui, his face partially shadowed, his expression serious and determined. The new Tempest. Amidst swirling energy and the dramatic backdrop of a storm, who can join us on our path of the Tempest, and we can share a drink with has appeared. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a close-up of a Tang Gon, who seems to be in a contemplative mood, as the text abruptly changes. Scratch that. Tang Gon, with a resigned yet accepting expression, concludes, I don't mind losing the bet. A stack of empty bowls, some with remnants of food, sits on a table. Tang Gon remarks, the greater young master Wenhui is, the better it is for all of us. However, the tone shifts as the same character exclaims, however, with frustration, this damned guy isn't sharing even a drink with me. The scene then shows Tang Wenhui, surrounded by more empty dishes, eating alone with chopsticks. Tang Gon bursts out, how the hell is this a meal? Expressing his dissatisfaction with the situation. Haha, Tang Gon, do you need anything else? A old man jovially asks, standing beside a table laden with empty dishes and a few remaining plates of food. Tang Gon, looking slightly inebriated, responds, give me another bottle of alcohol. I cannot bear to watch this while sober. Tang Wenhui, observing Tang Gon, remarks with a smirk, ah, I see you're quite the drinker. Should we have gone to Dragon Tower? Tang Wenhui, holding chopsticks and looking up, Tang Gon exclaims in surprise, do you know how expensive that place is? This bar is quite high-end too. It's the most popular restaurant around here, old man remarks as they sit at a table in a well-furnished establishment, surrounded by stacks of empty plates. Another character, observing the surroundings, agrees, definitely seems so. Tang Gon, with a pile of dishes in front of him, comments, I was more than willing to pick up the tab even if it was a little expensive, but who knew you'd eat enough to take up a week's worth of my food budget? As Tang Gon raises a bottle in a toast, Tang Wenhui adds, going to an expensive place like Dragon Tower wouldn't fit my plans either. It needs to be a place like this with many people. Tang Wenhui mused, sitting in a bustling restaurant, observing the crowd. He continued, I had to hold back for 2 months because of the ban Nam Gung Sun Young put on me from leaving, as a hand with a purple mystical energy was shown, but I can't delay it any further. The scene then shifted to show ghostly figures as Tang Wunhui declared, "This is the communication spell of the revered demon god Mythos." Finally, with a sense of urgency, he questioned, "Did you come to this place to leave such a mark?" Tang Wunhui, eyes blazing with fierce determination as ghostly spirits swirl behind him. He slams his fist down, declaring, "I need to let those who are still in despair know." His voice resonates with unwavering resolve. In that charged moment, he proclaims, "I, Cult Heir Yun Wunhui,